You know, when you think of the great classic novels, what comes to mind? Probably epic battles, right? Or maybe royal dramas and high society scandals. Well, forget all of that. We're about to dive into the world of Arnold Bennett, a writer who found the most extraordinary stories in the most ordinary places. He showed us that the real drama of life, the stuff that really matters, doesn't happen in castles. It happens in kitchens, in factories, and in little corner shops.
But here's the thing. Not everyone was a fan. In fact, some of the most celebrated writers of his day, people like Virginia Woolf, had a huge issue with his style. They said he was just obsessed with stuff. The furniture, the buildings, the price of things. But was that a fair criticism, or were they missing something much, much deeper? Let's dig in.
To really get Bennett, you first have to understand where he came from. See, this wasn't the fancy, polished London of high society. This was the industrial heart of England. And all those external details his critics pointed to, the smoke pouring from the chimneys, the grime on the streets, the endless hum of machines, that wasn't just background noise. That was the very air his characters breathed. It was their reality.
So Bennett grew up in a place called the Potteries, which was pretty much the ceramics capital of England. And this place wasn't just his hometown. It was his muse. He took this very real region, gave it the fictional name of the Five Towns, and he turned it into this sprawling literary universe. He captured all of it, the grit, the glory, the sheer hard work of industrial life, with this incredible, almost photographic eye.
And this is what made him so radical for his time. Really think about it. While so many other novelists were writing about lords and ladies in their country estates, Bennett turned his attention to the people who were actually building the modern world. We're talking about the shopkeepers, the clerks, the factory workers. He put their hopes, their fears, and their day-to-day struggles right at the center of the story.
So what were these ordinary people dreaming about? Well, more than anything else, they dreamed of getting ahead, of making something of themselves. Bennett was one of the very first writers to really tap into this quintessentially modern obsession with ambition, that relentless drive to climb the social ladder and make your mark on a world that's changing at lightning speed.
But for Bennett, ambition wasn't this simple, one-size-fits-all idea. No way. He shows us there are two very different ways to get to the top. You've got the path of the earnest aspirant, the person who believes in hard work and self-improvement, like Philip Durant. And then you've got the path of the audacious schemer, like the unforgettable Edward McKeeshan, a guy who sees life as a game and has absolutely no problem bending the rules to win. And sometimes the biggest barrier to your own success isn't the world outside, it's the world inside your own home. Take the story of Edwin Clayhanger. His greatest struggle isn't about getting rich or famous. It's a much more personal battle, just trying to break free from the shadow of his overpowering father so he can figure out who he's meant to be. I mean, that's a struggle that feels just as real today, doesn't it? It wasn't just the men who were fighting for a sense of self, though. Bennett was incredibly ahead of his time in the way he wrote about women. In an age when women were mostly expected to be quiet, to be domestic, he created these female characters who were just brimming with complexity, with ambition, and with a real hunger for a life of their own choosing. You can see this perfectly in his absolute masterpiece, The Old Wives' Tale. It tells the story of two sisters who take completely different paths in life. First, you've got Constance. She's the dutiful one, the one who stays home, who takes over the family shop, and who finds her purpose in responsibility. She's the anchor of her world. And then you have her sister, Sophia. Sophia is a firecracker, a total rebel. She takes one look at the quiet, respectable life that's been laid out for her and just says, nope, not for me. She runs away to Paris, chasing freedom and adventure. And along the way, she discovers that living life completely on your own terms, well, it comes with a pretty steep price. And through these incredible female characters, Bennett just pulls back the curtain on what it was truly like to be a woman in that era. He dives right into that constant tug-of-war between what you desire for yourself and what society demands of you. He explores that search for a real identity and the messy, complicated, wonderful reality of love. So let's circle all the way back to where we started. Remember that criticism from Virginia Woolf? That he was just a glorified list maker obsessed with details? After everything we've just seen, does that really hold up? Was he just describing the furniture, or was he building an entire world?
I think the answer is pretty clear, right? All those details were the whole point. He understood something really profound. You can't separate people from their environment. He showed us that our homes, our jobs, the very streets we walk down, they aren't just a backdrop. They're an essential part of what makes us who we are.
By focusing on the ordinary, he said something truly universal about being human.
And that's exactly why Arnold Bennett still matters so much today. The world of the Five Towns might feel like a lifetime away, but the questions he asks in his novels, they're the same questions we're still grappling with. How much of who you are is decided by where you come from? How do you balance your own dreams with what others expect of you? Bennett's novels don't give us easy answers, but they remind us of a powerful truth. There is nothing more fascinating or more dramatic than an ordinary